Hello, all, and welcome to Wake Up with Marci. We have a very full show today. Our guests speak about Mother's Day ideas. First, we are going to meet Valerie Gangas. She is a transformational speaker, life coach, and an author. With Mother's Day tomorrow, I'd really like to focus on our own relationships with our mothers. We will then meet Elizabeth Sutton. She is a mompreneur and a visual artist and designer. She inspires us through her story. She shares about reinvention, getting through divorce, bankruptcy, being a mom, and growing her very own successful business. Valerie, thank you so much for coming on Wake Up with Marci.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So I love what you are going to share with us today about building relationships and bonds, how we can do that, and practicing mindfulness. So I can't wait to dive into that. So Mother's Day is tomorrow. So I want to focus on mother-daughter relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit, first of all, why for you this topic is so important and exactly what you do.
So I had a really wonderful, close relationship with my mom, and I know people love their moms, but this was really special. I felt like she was my soulmate. So I lost her in 2011, and I've had a lot of time to think about why this relationship was so special and why it stayed with me, even though she's not with me anymore. So when Mother's Day comes around, it hurts. But I also feel a lot of love for the relationship I had with her. So I try and look at the positives.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what type of mindfulness you teach.
So I learned transcendental meditation after my mom passed away. So that was 2011. And when she died, I absolutely fell apart. I became very depressed. I couldn't work. I couldn't even leave my house. And someone suggested that I learn to meditate. I was also not sleeping very well. So they thought, well, if she learns to meditate, maybe she'll get some rest. So about 6 months after she passed away, I learned transcendental meditation. And when you learn, it's TM for short. When you learn TM, you learn with a teacher. They teach you over 4 days how to meditate properly. So on my first day of learning to meditate, I walked in the room suicidal, and I walked out of that room a different person. It completely changed my life. So ever since then, I've been talking about the benefits of meditation. I do life coaching, and I'm also an author.
That's wonderful. Tell us the name of your book.
Enlightenment is Sexy.
Isn't it? It is.
It is. It was, when I had that experience, everything changed in my life, and my idea of what beauty was radically different because I knew it was an inside job.
It goes much deeper, much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So we're quarantined. We're going through this awful pandemic, which can put a strain on our relationships. We can feel lonely during this time. There can be a lot of discord. And so that's why I want to talk about mothers, daughters, and different places where we are in our relationships. So the first I want to talk about is dealing with a teenage daughter, because I have a teenage daughter. She's 14, and she's really trying to find her independence. And I understand that that's where she's at, and there's all these hormones, but it's difficult. It's difficult to not react and respect her boundaries, and also be the mother. So
right.
how can we navigate this relationship with keeping as the mother and the respect, but also respecting their boundaries?
First of all, those are the hardest years. When you're a teenager, everything is wild inside of you, and you're really looking to your parent to see, how are they living? How are they handling all of this? And I think it's more of your actions that are important than actually what you're saying to them. They're taking it all in, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. So just minding your actions throughout the day and showing them that you're in control, they're safe, and everything's going to be okay. Bringing some peace into their life, I think, can solve a lot of problems, because they're probably scared like the rest of us. This is heavy duty for a teenager. They want to be out with their friends, enjoying their lives, and they're locked up in their houses. That's a lot to take in, plus the news, plus everything that's happening. They need their moms and their dads to just be solid.
Yeah. And so with that, do you have any like bonding, like give us a couple of tools that we could use during this time?
I think spending time with each individual child, maybe having like a date, maybe it's going for a bike ride right now or going for a walk at night together, just spending some time alone, I think that really bonds you. Because if there's multiple people in the house, there's chaos, there's things going on, but just giving that one child all of your attention, I think, is beautiful. And
Oh,
it's very helpful.
I so agree with that. Just yesterday, my daughter and I were hanging out, and it really made a difference. So do you have any ideas of like, and I'm going to ask you this with each relationship, are there any kind of Mother's Day ideas that you could give for a mom and a daughter as a teen?
I mean, I was thinking about what would be an awesome thing to do for your mom. And the first thing that came to my mind was clean the house, do the laundry. And if you want to make it extra special, cook her dinner. Let your mom relax. It's her day. And taking action like that, and, really, if you went through the whole house and cleaned it for her and did all the laundry and all those things that she's doing all the time, that would be such a treat.
Oh, I love that. That would be the best Mother's Day ever.
Right? I mean, and you
Yeah.
also get a little taste of what your mom has to do every day. That's a lot of work.
Amen. All right, guys. Well, we got to go to break. Valerie Gangas will be with us when we come back. We will be discussing the daughter playing the role of the caretaker and building on that relationship.
The first time we called the barbecue cleaner, it was because I was cooking dinner for the kids outside. And although when you cook a hamburger, there's always a little grease that drops in the grill, this was a little bit more concerning for my grill, for my house, as the fire kind of came up a little higher than I would have liked, especially with the kids around. This past summer, we put in an outdoor kitchen with a grill that we love. It's not something we want to replace year in and year out, so it's something we need to make sure we maintain. So I like to make sure to call the barbecue cleaner at least twice a year to make sure that it's in tip-top shape.
Hello all, and welcome back to Wake Up with Marci. We are talking with Valerie Gangas about mother-daughter relationships. So let's talk about the caretaker, the daughter that is now taking care of her elderly mom. And there's so much pressure with that. And I don't think that a lot of people can understand what that person is going through, that daughter is going through. And so how can a mom and a daughter in that role, how can they find some peace and be mindful of their own needs? The caretaker, the daughter, be mindful of her own needs, and then her mom's.
Well, I know when I was taking care of my mom, when she was passing away, I told myself she will never need me more than she needs me right now. So everything else kind of fell away. She was my number one priority because I knew it was a limited amount of time, and I knew that I had to go all in to help her. Again, they're never going to need you more than they need you at that moment. So maybe you have to put aside, your emotions and your needs for the time being and maybe deal with it later, because it's such an important part of not only your relationship, but that person's life. So when it gets to the point where your mom is that sick, I think you just have to step up to the plate, and you just have to go in and put your mind on the idea of, I am going to do whatever it takes to make her comfortable and make her happy. Because again, it's such a limited amount of time.
So let's talk about during this quarantine time. A lot of daughters have come home. They've left the house. They were working. Maybe they've gone to college. They're really, they're independent. But now they've had to come back home. And so again, talking about respecting boundaries, and especially now that the daughter's older, like maybe there are some things that they could do, like you're talking about, like meditating or yoga. Like, what would you suggest that they could do to bond while also respecting each other's space?
I mean, first of all, realizing that your child is now an adult. They're able to make their own decisions, and they need some space, even if you're still in the house together. And yeah, maybe meditating together. I like taking walks in nature. I think that's very bonding for two people. And it also is just good for your soul and your nervous system. So making a ritual out of like, hey, every night at 6:00, let's take a walk together for an hour. And then if the rest of the day, your daughter wants to be by herself or, wants to do her own thing, at least you have that time together. And I also think sitting down to eat dinner together is a super positive thing. And now we have the time to do that, whereas before maybe everyone was running in 20 different directions. But to take the time to cook a meal and to sit down at the table together, you can't beat that.
I think the common theme here is time, and just recognizing how important time together is, and just interjecting ways that we can find peace together.
Yeah. And all the memories I have, looking back at my childhood and my mom, it's really fun times we had together. Maybe we went on a road trip or we went to see a play together. I mean, those are the things that stand out in my mind, and it's precious to me now.
Yeah. So that's what the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Like for those daughters that have lost their moms like you, and during this quarantine time, they don't have their mom, how lonely that could be. Yeah. And how they can help themselves to get past that grief. Maybe they've just recently lost their mom, or maybe even recently with COVID-19. I mean, is there something special that they could do for themselves to help themselves through this, and also some sort of remembrance of their mom, for Mother's Day?
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to be able to help but think about your mom on Mother's Day. It's, it's in your face. And after you lose someone that you love that much, all I can say is, for me, I went to therapy because I was so, so sick, and I learned to meditate. And those two things really saved me. And another thing I always think about now, because I have lost other family members since my mom, on the other side of that pain is a new life. You're a different person. And once you learn to embrace that, you move in a new direction, and you're stronger, you're wiser, you're able to help other people. So good does come out of that pain. It's bad, but it's not all bad. There is a silver lining. And so I always try and think about that when things get heavy for me.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard in that time, right? You're just in so much pain to know that you are going to get through it.
You will get through it. You just gotta one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. At first, you just gotta survive.
So Valerie, you help in so many ways, and I just would love for you just to expand a little bit more how you help others and how we can find you.
Sure. I do a lot of writing and a lot of interviews. They're all on my website. It's valeriegangas.com. And I also work with people one-on-one doing life coaching, and I do a lot of speaking. So all that information can be found right on my website.
Oh, fantastic. And I know you can touch on so many areas. It's just about growing, and like you said, enlightenment is sexy, and just really going inside of ourselves. And there's so many layers, and working with your inner self first just to bring out the beauty of the person that you really are.
Yeah, I realized a little bit later in life, but I realized that's the way to do it. You work from the inside out and it changes everything.
It does. Well, thank you so very much for coming on Wake Up and sharing such great advice. And I'll be thinking about you tomorrow on Mother's Day.
Thanks, Marci. I'll be thinking about you too.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I just will say, Valerie, I hope my daughter cleans the house. I'm going to make sure.
Maybe she'll hear this and get an idea.
I'm going to make sure she watches this part. All right, Valerie, again. Thank you again. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
When we come back, we will meet Elizabeth Sutton, a mompreneur with a truly inspirational story.
The first time we called the barbecue cleaner, it was because I was cooking dinner for the kids outside. And although when you cook a hamburger, there's always a little grease that drops in the grill, this was a little bit more concerning for my grill, for my house, as the fire kind of came up a little higher than I would have liked, especially with the kids around. This past summer, we put in an outdoor kitchen with a grill that we love. It's not something we want to replace year in and year out, so it's something we need to make sure we maintain. So I like to make sure to call the barbecue cleaner at least twice a year to make sure that it's in tip-top shape.
Hello all, and welcome back to Wake Up with Marci. I'm so excited about meeting Elizabeth Sutton and hearing her story. I also cannot wait to share about her Mother's Day card download that she is offering on her website. All the money raised will go to City Harvest in New York City. All right, guys, let's meet Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for coming on Wake Up with Marci.
Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm truly honored.
Well, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I'm so honored to have you on as such an empowering mother and businesswoman, entrepreneur, philanthropic force. And so I wanted to share a little bit about your story. But first of all, I just want to say the artwork behind you is beautiful. And I know that's all of your creations.
Yes, they are. I'm an artist, designer, and entrepreneur. And I have been seldom coming to my studio during quarantine. But if you didn't want to hear two screaming little children in the background, I come here, and I figured why not give everybody a little bit of colorful life.
So Elizabeth, I wanted to share a little bit about your story because it is so inspiring. And I know you went through some hardships about 4 or 5 years ago. So if you could share those with us and empower the women to find strength, I would appreciate that.
So I'm a mother to two incredible children, Miro and Nora, 5 and 3 years old, and I completely reinvented myself. 4.5 years ago, I picked up a paintbrush for the first time ever after going through hardship. I had a lot of loss in 2 years within a matter of, to backtrack a little actually, born and raised in New York. I grew up a modern Orthodox Jew. I got married very young. I got married at 21 years old. And I wanted to be a housewife. I wanted to be a mother, even though I was always a good student. I studied marketing and finance. I didn't really have career goals. I had a very privileged lifestyle. And it was not until I went through a lot of loss in a very short amount of time. We lost our money. I lost my friend. My marriage started to crumble. I had a miscarriage. I ended up getting divorced with a 3-week-old baby and a 2-year-old son. And unfortunately, to top that off, my assistant and one of my closest friends was killed in my car, leaving my birthday party, all in front of the world. And this was all really the very, very beginning of my career. I'm completely self-taught. I had no formal training, not in painting and not in owning or running a business. I didn't have capital. I got divorced in 6 weeks, if that says anything about the speed at which I left, okay? My parents had a very traumatic divorce. I don't speak to my father because of it, and I didn't want my children to experience that. So when I got divorced, my number one priority was to protect my children from sometimes the harm that divorce can bring into, and turmoil that can bring into their lives. And thank God I have the most beautiful divorce. It doesn't mean that I don't want to kill my ex sometimes, but he and I are able to be around each other. He joins my family for holidays. He's in my sister's apartment right now where I am quarantined, hanging out with my kids. We're in the same room. So I'm very blessed for that.
Yes.
I work super hard. I had no choice also, right? I needed to get independent and get on my own and figure out a way to get on my own 2 feet because I had to go. I wasn't happy and I had to come to the realization that it wasn't the right marriage for me.
So I know you went through so much trauma, but I am so grateful to hear your story and that you were able to get through your divorce amicably and learn a lesson from your parents and break a cycle and put your children first. That's what's so wonderful is when we can actually learn from what our parents have done. But let's talk about you picking up the paintbrush and deciding that that is what you wanted to do. Where did that come from?
First of all, it came from God. I must say it came from God. I think it's a God-given talent, but I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. My work is very colorful. Clearly, I had a lot of darkness in my life. I express myself through color. When I first found this talent, I thought my work was just decorative. And as my career grew and I delved deeper into the artist that I am, I definitely heal myself through my work. My process is very meditative. I also try and use my work as my voice to express my beliefs, my opinions. I have my idiom series that has keep it moving, making money moves, dance through the pain, art heals all wounds, blessing in disguise, this too shall pass. And they are reminders for me. So yes, for sure.
Well,
that feeling.
So you have a message with each piece of art that you have. And I know that you had said that your assistant passed away and that was very difficult for you, but that, if I understood you correctly, that triggered for you a process and you created a certain artistic line in his honor or in his name. Is that correct?
I mean, I do so much in his honor. Honestly, after it happened, I raised money on GoFundMe for his daughter who he left behind and for my other assistant who was in the accident and through my social media. So it was all of them. We raised $38,000. But more than that, I feel like I just need to Pedro was back on my team, my assistant who survived. They were best friends growing up in Cuba. And I feel like we just need to get places with my work. We spread the good vibes with my art. My art is beautiful.
It's so beautiful. I love the piece behind you. Wasn't that Kim Kardashian had that? Is that the piece?
Courtney has one of my pieces.
Oh, Courtney
has one of my pieces. Mickey Minnie, not this one, but she has a different Mickey Minnie. But we really try and spread good energy with our art. And Juan was a real, true artist, professionally trained back in Cuba, and I know he'd be very proud. It also, like, my way of coping with life and trauma when I'm having hard times is just to dive into my work. It's really my coping mechanism. And after the accident happened, I was pretty messed up and traumatized. And
art is so therapeutic. Yeah.
It brought me back to life. I chased a big deal with Joe and the Juice. It was my first big, brand name licensing deal. And that collaboration helped me heal.
So speaking of your art, you have, of course, the art pieces that you make. You are launching a wallpaper line. You have your tiles have won awards, and now you have a line of jewelry and purses and really, really beautiful things. Again, I'd love for you to show one of your purses if you have it right there.
I do.
With a piece of your art and a message.
I have a lot going on. I try and translate, because my art is my true passion of all the things that I do. You mentioned I do wallpaper, tile. All my designs in my tile and my wallpaper, they're derivatives from my artwork. And so I try and translate my art into all my designs, represent those strong, positive messages. Even from the packaging, I take some of my, most inspired artworks so that you have a message from my overall brand. And I really think it creates the overall story of what my brand represents and my product represents, which is about empowering others, especially women.
So that leads me to your newest venture, and that is a Mother's Day coloring book that you offer, and with note cards, and that is to raise money for City Harvest. Is that correct?
Yes. So my team and I, because I didn't do it alone, and my team is working basically for free. Okay. We launched 5 downloadable coloring cards for Mother's Day. We had launched 3 coloring books for free. We said it's time to raise money. I'm born and raised in New York. New York is so sad right now. It breaks my heart. And New York needs our help. I'm not kidding. So, and also stay home. If you can't go buy a card, this is the perfect way to occupy your kids, get out some of your own creative outlets, raise money for a good cause, and cheer up some spirits. I have launched 5 cards available for purchase for $3.50 each, or for a bundle of 5 for $15. 100% of the proceeds go to City Harvest New York, which go to feed hungry New Yorkers. You know, schools are closed now. A lot of families depend on public school systems to feed their children. Many of these people are now unemployed. So 100% of the funds go to City Harvest. And I really am hoping to raise a lot of money. So I hope some of you viewers out there go to support the cause.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Well, you are doing so many things. I just want to make sure, what's the website?
Go to www.elizabethsuttoncollection.com. And if you go to my coloring books section, you'll find them.
And also, you are so transparent within your social media reach too. And I know that is so helpful, that people can, and women especially, like you said, can be empowered through your messages that you provide on Instagram. And I just want to say congratulations to everything that you're doing, and the women that you're helping, and bringing your creativity to the world, because creativity and music, all of these beautiful things are what we really need right now to lift our spirits. So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You can follow along every day at Elizabeth Sutton Collection on Instagram. I cook on my blog. I have a lifestyle blog on my website. So keep up there. And I'm super excited to see you after this is all over, I hope.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again, Elizabeth. I can't wait to see your beautiful studio.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Good vibes. Take a drink for yourself. Run away from your kids today.
Exactly. Happy Mother's Day to you, Elizabeth, and stay safe there in New York City.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for tuning in. Next week, we will meet Larissa Wohl. She will share helpful tips for pet owners during this time, and Dr. Joel Gator-Warsh. We will focus on children and how they are being affected during isolation. I want to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next weekend. And remember, if you want to find out more about Wake Up with Marci, check out my website at wakeupwithmarci.com. All right, guys, bye-bye.